Hi, International Master Squarology here, and in this Chess.com lesson we're going to look at Emmanuel Neymann's sixth signal, Crucial Defender / Overloaded Defender. The name is self-explanatory, it's pretty easy to understand. This signal appears when one piece lacks sufficient protection, or when one piece is doing too much. It happens all the time. I found all of these examples in the very first round of the Tromsø Chess World Cup. I didn't even have to look hard. Our first example is somewhat awesome. The reason we're learning about signals is so that in our games we'll recognize them, which in turn will alert us to the possibility of tactics. Now here, there are a lot of signals at play. A lot. There's alignment on this diagonal with the queen and bishop, and alignment on this diagonal with the bishop and knight. Whoa, did you hear that? That was lightning. Okay. It was the sound, thunder, sorry, it was thunder. Because I know that if I say lightning, somebody's going to correct me. Somebody's going to be like, actually, it's the reverberation of electrostatic discharge between the clouds and the earth. So, where was I? Yes. And there's alignment on this diagonal with the bishop and knight. There's a potential knight fork on e4. The pieces on d4, d2, and g5 are being protected, but they're loose. That's the word that I like to use to describe pieces that lack sufficient protection. So they're only being protected once. King position is a factor because the king has no pawn shield along this diagonal, and the queen is overworked. It's the only defender of both the knight and bishop. That's a lot of signals. In such cases, you need to think concretely first. And if nothing tactical shows up, only then should you begin to think strategically. So that's the whole point of knowing these signals. They let you know when to think concretely and when you don't have to think concretely and you can immediately begin to think strategically. And here it so happens that the tactic works perfectly. Simon Agdestein walked into it and Etienne Bacrot never looked back. Pause the video and try to find the best move for black. Ready? Knight fe4. And boom goes the dynamite. Or maybe I should change that up and use lightning bolt. And boom goes the lightning bolt. If bishop d8, the knight d2, taking the unprotected queen, and black's attacking the rook and the bishop. So rewind. If fe4, bishop d4, taking advantage of white's overloaded queen, something's got to give. If white takes back, then black can play queen g5, and it's very similar to what happened in the game. And if he ignores it, then bishop c3, bc3, knight e4, forking the queen and bishop. In the game, white played knight e4, and after massive exchanges, black ended up with a healthy pawn structure, and he even got a beastly pig a couple moves later. This is Kaidana versus Ereshchenko. Black to play. Find the right move. Pause the video and continue when you've gotten it. Ready? Queen f4. The bishop's overworked. It can't cover f4 and b6 at the same time. So black wins a pawn. This is Popov-Rager. It's equal, but here black blunders with knight c5. His idea is based on the knight fork on d3. But it doesn't work because instead of taking on f2, like for example here, walking into the fork, white can take on e5, removing the defender of the f4 knight. That pawn was the only defender of the knight, and white can just take it for free. So now white's attacking the knight, which is the only defender of the f2 rook. The knight indirectly defends the rook because if white takes on f2, he gets forked on d3. So now with the crucial defender under fire, black loses material. If he saves the rook, then white goes into a rook endgame up 3 pawns. So that's why at the beginning, it looked like he just gave away a piece. He really had an idea, a knight fork idea behind it. Unfortunately for black, white had this idea based on the signal of crucial defender. So now let's see crucial defender / overworked piece in a quintessential example. By the way, for all the kindergartners watching, quintessential means representing the most perfect. Okay, you can't really say that because perfect is superlative. Representing a most perfect or typical example of a quality or class. And for the record, I just want to make this clear. All age groups are welcome to learn from these Chess.com lessons on YouTube or on Chess.com or on ChessKit. I know they have one dedicated site to kids, and the videos are really nice. Even if you're not a kid, you can enjoy them. But these lessons are for all age groups, from 0 years old to 200 years old to 300 years old. Don't just and up. Okay, so back to what I was saying. This game, Akash Caruana, is a quintessential example of one side not being able to handle all the threats he's facing. He's spread too thin. You might have heard about the principle of two weaknesses. The general idea is that you need to attack more than one weakness. If you can attack at least two weaknesses, then you're doing pretty well. But the more weaknesses you can attack, the better. The more weaknesses your opponent has to defend, the harder it will be for him to survive. In this position here, white feels thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread. If anybody can tell me what movie that's from, good job. White's position is a house of cards, and black is the wind. The autumn wind. Pause the video and find black's best move. Ready? Rook h4, destroying the crucial defender of the f3 square. And after king f3, the rook is trapped. The rook really has nowhere to go. It can only be defended. And the only way to hold on to it is to play king d3, which defends the rook. Alright, so what is king d3? If you've been paying attention, then you know what it is. A crucial defender. There's only one piece defending e2, so that should alert you to the possibility of a tactic. Pause the video and find the best move for black. Ready? c2. And white's king is overworked. Black's going to promote the pawn, and if white takes on c2, he loses the rook. Like I said, Emmanuel Neymann's sixth signal, crucial defender / overloaded defender, happens all the time. It's simple to understand. If a side has to keep defending a bunch of weaknesses, sooner or later his defenses are going to be overloaded. If a piece is only being defended once, then you should check for tactics. Please like and leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter @Squarology, and remember, I'll see you on Chess.com.